Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Victoria Morrissey here, and I'm very excited to talk to you today about a topic near and dear to my heart. In this critical time, how do we reclaim and reinvent our humanity? We have been pushed from a 3D into a 2D world that feels exceptionally flat. And what I would like to share with you today are some of the learnings that I have, both personally and as a marketer, as we move forward into the next era of normal. As the longest serving First Lady of the United States, Eleanor Roosevelt can certainly be considered a political figure, but I would argue that her role as diplomat and activist was even more significant, with a long-lasting impact that continues to this day. She was widely respected across party lines because she saw and championed the beauty in everyone. And while her impact was enormous, she saw the work of achieving a more just, fair, and good society as a matter of the small stuff. You see, when she was asked where that important work begins, her answer was quite simple. In small places close to home, so close and so small that they cannot be seen on any maps of the world. Without concerted citizen action to uphold them close to home, we shall look in vain for progress in the larger world. I've long loved this quote, and it's particularly interesting to read now, especially that second line, in small places close to home. When I consider the past 8 months, close to home is an understatement, because I've spent all of this time, like most of you, I would imagine, not just close to my home, but actually inside it, from morning to night, day after day, season after season after season. My husband, my adult children, and my new puppies have all been here too, every single minute of every single day, all of us. And we're coming up on almost 250 days inside this house, this small place. And before the pandemic hit, I would have told you that my family was my whole world. And I would, of course, been speaking figuratively. But now my family has literally become my whole world. It's about as close as it gets over here. And it turns out that Our Lady Eleanor was right. This small place is the ultimate testing ground for basic decency and goodness. Since it has become virtually impossible to seek progress out in the larger world, I've had no choice but to work on it right here. And whoa, what a test. We usually think of this word in its most expansive sense, capital H humanity, right? The human race, human beings collectively. But by definition, humanity also lives smaller and closer, much like Eleanor said. Humanity in that sense is simply the quality of being human. It's our good nature, our humanness. And so much of the talk over the last several months has been about people as numbers, as statistics, as trends. But what I want to talk to you about is people as warm-blooded, mistake-making, deeply feeling humans. It's about seeing in each other what we recognize in ourselves, our complicated, wonderful, fragile, mighty humanness. What's more clear to me now than ever before is the simple truth that we're all hungry for a heavy dose of humanity in every realm of life, from home to work to community and everything in between. Because you see, things are better, more meaningful when our humanity, our humanness is just dialed way up. And now, since the world broke, we have a chance to reevaluate it all, to reimagine and maybe even reinvent a better and brighter way forward. I've distilled what I've learned over the course of this pandemic down to 4 key principles to reclaim and reinvent our humanity, but in a way that makes us better marketers and better humans, the kind of humans that actually can make the world a better place. So let's get started. Principle number 1, it's about thriving, not just surviving. Pema Chodron said it very well, quote, "To be fully alive, fully human, and completely awake is to be continually thrown out of the nest." Back in March, we were all tossed out of our nests and then strangely found ourselves back in the proverbial nest of home life. But even in here, everything has been rearranged. Even more strange with the sameness, I have found the most consistent feeling to be that of inconsistency. The world all around us is shifting under our feet and before our eyes. And amidst the uncertainty, the complexity, and the struggles and the grief, everywhere I look, there are silver linings. COVID blessings, you might say. Bright, shiny rays of light, the great unexpected gifts of this time we never knew we needed or actually knew we were missing. These new circumstances have forced me and my teams to try new things. We've had to find ways to connect, to collaborate. We've had to get a little scrappier and a lot more comfortable with a test and learn mentality. I like to say that we've become fluent at adapting. Back in March, Augustine Fuentes, an evolutionary anthropologist at the University of Notre Dame, wrote this in the New Yorker, quote, "What is so important to humanity is connection. One of the amazing things about the human species, once harmless critters, not much more than monkeys running around, is that over time, we've become very creative. We've adapted to survive. That's why people will rely on now. Coming up with incredibly imaginative ways to find connections, even when they're not in the same physical space together." Incredibly imaginative ways to find connections. I love that. Because one of the things I'm most proud of is all the incredibly imaginative ways we found to connect as a team. Early on, after it was clear that we weren't going to be together in person anytime soon, I started doing regular town halls. This gave me a chance to set a clear path forward, to provide transparency and reassurance during a time when everything felt fragile, and maybe just so we could hear and see each other. My team and I talked frequently about the state of things, and we got into the habit of all sharing our COVID blessings, moments where we could see each other, not just as colleagues, but as living, breathing humans, all unified by similar circumstances. We dropped the formal clothes and personas, but we paid extra attention to our words, which have become so important in this 2D world. You see, in many ways, words are all we have right now. We found pockets of positivity and levity, and these are the fleeting moments that I believe will amount to lasting connections. We did a company-wide survey to understand how this new world of work was, well, working for everyone, and the positive responses were overwhelming and encouraging. 95% of the people in our group said they were able to support our customers while moving to a remote work environment. 93% feel supported in their efforts to adapt. And 92% said they intended to stay with the company for at least 12 months. The positive responses were really breathtaking and incredibly motivating to me. It is a true testament to the fact that we are all becoming fluent in adapting. I guess it all just boils down to asking, how are you? And actually pausing long enough to hear the answer, the real raw answer. These past 8 months have taught me the importance of really asking this question. So now I ask, and I mean it, and I listen. And I'm able to change my behavior on the spot. In the end, we calibrate and we pick up one another's slack. I'd like to think we thrive. This small act of connecting on a human level has transformed my days and improved the way I lead, and it's among the things I count as one of my most precious COVID blessings. So once we commit to thriving, we must understand the critical truth about the people around us and those who we serve, which brings me to principle 2. Professionals are people first. The world of B2B has long been seen as the less human counterpart to the world of B2C. And I get it, I really do. Even from a marketing perspective, we don't frequently use those superhuman words like insight or emotion or behavior change in the land of B2B. It's just easier to forget when we pretend that the businesses we're talking about aren't in fact composed of a whole bunch of real, live, thinking, breathing, feeling humans. Every day of this pandemic has been filled with reminders of the truth that we are all just people with real complicated lives doing work. And ironically, this is exactly the stuff that makes us better and more empathetic marketers. And these daily reminders, this hyper transparency and human honesty have helped shift the way I see our customers too. Even before the crisis, several bodies of research show that the majority of global consumers, they feel companies have lost touch with the human element of customer experience. But now here we are in this touchless, distanced digital world. And it's on us to find ways to make our customers' interactions with us as packed with humanity as is well humanly possible. This past May, we ran a campaign that wasn't focused on selling or renting or servicing our powerful yellow iron. It was a campaign that had one single human purpose: to say thank you. Thank you to the owners and the operators and all those essential workers who keep things running and progress happening. Their work has always been essential, and at the start of the pandemic, it was even more critical. They had to keep working as the rest of the world shut down. But rather than me telling you about it, let me show you exactly how we said thank you.
Emptiness. It's a dark, uncertain feeling. It's a primal fear. But it's not our reality and will not be our fate, because there are people out there who fight it every day. Though most of us are in isolation, staying out of harm's way, there are others working hard to make sure the rest of us can stay home, stay safe, stay connected, and stay happy. Thanks to the people who put food on the shelves, and thanks to the people who keep things moving. Thanks to the people who keep the lights on, and those who stand ready to do their part when they can. Thanks to those who make sure hospitals keep running, medicine and machines stay ready, and information keeps flowing so doctors and nurses can keep working and the world can recover. Thank you to everyone who fights against emptiness. We always knew we needed you. And now the world knows how essential you truly are.
Across this country, on billboards and radio stations and broadcast channels and truck stops, we said thank you. More than 57 million sets of eyes saw it, and they smiled back. 2 simple words: thank you, with massive human impact. So what direction do we go now if we have committed to thriving and celebrating these important humans? That brings me to principle number 3. It's forward to better, not back to normal. In the beginning, I think we all felt this. I just want things to go back to normal. But a few months in, I realized I didn't actually want to go back to the way things were. Long commutes, jumping on planes, attempting to get ahead and stay on top of it all. Recent research shows that 3 in 4 people in B2B decision-making roles do not want to go back to the way things were. Most people prefer this new world of work with, less time on planes and commuting, and they've become increasingly comfortable doing business digitally. Habits only take 30 days to change, and we're well beyond that at this point now. So if we assume that the way work works is forever altered, then it seems we must ask ourselves, what other new habits can we carry forward as we move into the next normal? The big question for us as marketers is this: how do we respond to changing dynamics to make what's coming better than what was? At CAT, we're responding with humanity. We're responding with care, and we're responding with action that actually makes a difference. And we're celebrating those who are doing that work that is so essential to all of us. The CAT Foundation has done a great deal over the many years, and especially this year. There's been $1 million contribution to the COVID-19 solidarity response for the World Health Organization to assist in the detection, testing, and prevention of this pandemic and this illness. And through our Feed America Global Food Bank, Caterpillar has donated over $1.75 million to support the COVID Response Fund and help emergency food boxes in communities hardest hit, especially by school closures. Example number 2, we've provided masks for essential care workers. You see, the company behind CAT Workwear ramped up production of masks for essential workers. We gave $15,000 to local medical workers and $250,000 for our own frontline employees. And finally, the little tugboat that could, or the big tugboat that could, powering the USNS Comfort. New York City was the first U.S. epicenter of COVID-19 and needed additional hospital beds ASAP. I know that probably feels like a long time ago, and it was. Our dealer, Foley Cat, and its customer, McAllister Towing, they got to work, towing in the USNS Comfort into New York Harbor, all powered by Cat engines. Little things, one at a time, that add up to so much. So now that we're committed to thriving, we recognize the power of the people, and we're looking forward. How do we wrap up with the human element? And that brings me to my 4th and final principle: H to H matters more than F to F. In so many ways, the world of in-person, face-to-face feels long gone. And while I'm yearning to have it back, to see my friends and extended family, to collaborate with my teams and dealers in person, I'm also finding the beauty in what this pandemic has forced. Without face-to-face, we've had to find new ways to connect human to human, or more accurately, heart to heart. I've long believed that storytelling is the strongest, smartest, and most potent marketing tool we have. Story is what allows people to connect with brands at heart level. It's what people say when you're not in the room. And it's what helps data and insights come alive. It's what shifts perception and ultimately changes behavior. And what we've learned at Caterpillar during this pandemic is that the best way to connect with people across the globe is with honest, engaging storytelling. Caterpillar has always lived at the intersection of human and machine. We have long understood that this dynamic relationship is the core principle on which our brand thrives. Because you see, our machines can't operate without the people literally skilled to move mountains. And our people can't dig, power, or pave without our big yellow iron. So we set out to bring man and machine together in a way that would bring joy to our customers, employees, and fans. In honor of Caterpillar's 95th and Pac-Man's 40th anniversaries, we brought back the cat trials. We built a life-size game board using the latest cat machines with remote control technology and featured our wide range of services that keep our customers going regardless of the challenges that they face around every corner. Every power pellet and fruit bonus represents the services we offer to help our customers overcome those challenges. We took a machine and we made it human. We gave it heart and humor and a big dose of much needed levity. But rather than me continuing to explain it, let me show you what that game looks like. This entertaining and highly effective work generated more than 10 million views globally in less than 3 weeks, and another 10 million views of the previous 8 trials. It was featured in over 900 media outlets globally, delivering over 1 billion impressions via earned media, all at a media cost of a few $100,000. People gobbled it up. Employees, customers, dealers, humans in general. And we reminded ourselves of the power of finding new ways to tell our story and bring it to life in a whole range of relevant ways. We were able to surprise and delight, especially at a time when people are craving escapism and an ear-to-ear smile that had become so hard to find, while also driving real business growth. Humanity wasn't just a factor, it was the factor. So I want to end where we started, with Eleanor. When asked by Frank Sinatra what single word she would like to offer as encouragement to the 25 million viewers of his 1960 show, her answer was this: that one word would be hope. It's the most neglected word in our language. The challenges we are facing today, at home, at work, in our communities, and the world at large, can feel overwhelmingly large and impossible to solve. But for me, the hope of emerging from this thing in a better place than where we were when it began hinges on my own capability and capacity to stay focused on what I can meaningfully impact in those small places close to home. Because at the end of the day, we're all humans, wholehearted, whole-minded, can-do humans. And our capacity for change, growth, and evolution is baked into our operating systems. And no matter how difficult things are, there's always an opportunity to walk out into this great, big, messy, beautiful world and raise the bar, to elevate our interactions, elevate our kindness, and elevate our work. Or in the words of Brene Brown, stay awkward, brave, and kind. Little by little, gesture by human gesture, I think we'll come out of this thing with a greater appreciation of each other, the people we work with, and the customers we serve. And I think we'll do it with our humanity, not only intact, but reinvented, reimagined, and wholly renewed. I, for one, am full of hope. Thank you.